Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of When the Shift Hits a Fan. We are the Shifters. My name is Mark Jeffrey, and I'm here once again with my gorgeous co-host, Linda Lehman. I want to welcome everyone to this episode, and I got to tell you, it's all about responsibility tonight, and I was responsible for the PowerPoint part of this, and I forgot I didn't do it. So tonight we're going with the whiteboard, but what it is a conversation. Okay, that's what really counts, not whether or not I got a great PowerPoint happening or not. Right, Linda?
That's right, Mark. You know, when we have a wonderful message for all of our listeners. So you're right. It doesn't matter if we have a PowerPoint or if we're sitting here just conversing as we usually do, sipping our coffee or our tea and just talking about how wonderful life is in general.
Right. Perfection. You know, the thing is, we want to talk about something that is pretty interesting here. We want to talk about 5 ways for you to take responsibility, for your own life and your happiness and the prosperity. We're going to show you the roadmap to your success. And the reason why we're kind of talking about this again is because what we found, particularly, and I mean this isn't just us. This is almost with anything that happens. You want to do something, but you don't get it done. Okay, and it can be like you make that New Year's resolution, and 2 weeks into January you forgot what you even resolved to do. We want to be happy, but we do nothing to make ourselves happy. We want all of these things. We want this life. Like, we have so many people that write to us, that comment on our pages and stuff about, well, that's all great for you guys, but how do I do that? And here's what's interesting. They never show up for the game.
Exactly. If you want to make a change, you got to show up to make that change. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same place, and we've talked about this before, Mark, you're going to be in the same place tomorrow as you were a year ago. No change.
I know, and then you're going to be and how unhappy you are right now, you're going to be even that much more unhappy because another year has gone by. And it can be anything in the crappy job that you don't want, and you could do better if you just got up and went out and buffed up your resume and actually did it. That relationship that is not fulfilling you anymore, why are you staying there? And that's the one that gets me. That drives me crazy when people stay in relationships and they don't even have the kids to blame it on, Linda.
Exactly, and that blame game is a very dangerous game. Plus, as long as you're playing that blame game, blaming the children or blaming the economy, there aren't any good jobs in your area, that's a cop-out, and that is a pure example of not taking responsibility for you, because you can't be blaming something or somebody else and at the same time taking responsibility. The two don't
No, that's just
together.
lazy ass.
Yeah.
Sorry, blunt force trauma here, because until that day that you actually get that through your heads, nothing changes. And don't come running to me. Don't go run into somebody else. Don't go grabbing a glass of wine and boo-hooing it with your girlfriends. Oh, my life is so terrible. You know what? Get up and do something about it. And we're going to talk to you tonight. And hopefully this will be, a way that you can start doing it. It's not like you have to jump into action. We always say that. We're always talking about baby steps. Make incremental little changes, because those incremental little changes turn into habits that turn into new things that turn into, changing the world. So tonight we want you to think about something. Linda and I are going to take a trip. Well, I'm going to take a trip because I'm going to go from Canada and I'm going to go to Florida. And so I have to do some things, right, guys? I'm going to have to do some things. I'm going to have to take a journey, and I'm going to have to do this. But it's a metaphor. I'm not actually getting in my car and driving anywhere. We're going to talk about how you can equate making these changes to changing your life the same way that you would plan a trip. And we have talked about this, kind of skirted over the issue. But gosh, Linda, I think we were talking about this the other day. I think it was like close to 2 years ago on one of our shows, driving, this map and making it. So we've outlined some things here. I want you to take this in tonight. Your talent, your preparation, and strategy. Those things are going to be the vehicle that you move forward in from now on. And I know we have heard you. We know you keep saying, I have no talent. Everybody has talent. If you get up in the morning and you land on 2 feet, you're talented.
Exactly. There's a lot of people out there who stumble and fall. Everyone has unlimited talent within them. They just have to tap into it. And that's why I like the metaphor that we use, that your talent is your fuel. And without it, you're not going to go anywhere. So you do have talent. It's, I know a lot of people mistakenly think when you say the term talent, you think of the talent shows when you were kids, and some kids could play the piano, some could sing, some could dance, and you kind of equate talent to that. But talent is so much bigger. Talent that you have within you is really the way that you serve your fellow man. What do you do to serve? What do you do to help improve the world around you? That's your talent.
It is, and it doesn't. You're not Mother Teresa. I mean, you're not Gandhi. You're not, Les Brown. You're not. You are you. This unique individual. Yeah, this unique individual who has their own abilities and talents. And the thing is, I know sometimes we hide underneath a rock because we're shy or fearful, or we don't want anybody to shoot us down. All those things. Ego gets in the way. I mean, we could go on and on and on about this, but let's stop there, okay? Because you're not under a rock, and you might be a little bit shy. But if you've ever made a decision to do something like, I don't know, buy a car, buy a pair of shoes, buy a dress, buy a suit, whatever it happens to be, you are quite able and talented enough to make a decision.
Exactly. And you know what? That starts the car rolling too, is making that decision, becoming responsible. And I know, Mark, we talked about this, and I guess it's my turn to be blunt. Parents, please stop making all the decisions for your children.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let them make some of those decisions for themselves.
And here's another. Well, I have to jump in though, Linda. Don't put your own self-worth on your children. If they're idiots, they're idiots. They did what they did. It was, maybe, okay, in some cases it might have been somebody's fault, but you know what? They're going to go off, and as good of a parent as you could be, and you're one of the best ones, kids they're just going to go do what they do. So don't put your self-worth into what your kids do there, and the reverse of.
There you go. Yay, we said it.
Yeah, geez. That's a tough one. I know.
It is.
Well, it's just like as we're children and our parents go out and do something and they do something silly because they don't know that we never really lose our childlike being, and you want to be silly one day and they look at you, well, you're the parent, how dare you embarrass me like that? The reverse is true. We grow into different people. And I have my thing. I work until you're 18 years old and then get the hell out of my house. You're on your own. Whatever you do, you do. I did what I did. And you know what? We talked about this too, and it might not have been the best. I'm a first-time parent. I know nothing.
Right. You don't turn a baby over and find the instruction manual printed on it.
No, that would be a darn fine idea if somebody would do that.
We all do the very best we can with the knowledge, the education, the expertise that we have in the moment.
Mm-hmm. So all we can do is try to be as prepared as we can be. But we don't want to stay in a state of preparedness. I don't even know if that's a word. But we don't want to stay there prepared but never venturing out to find out what's going on there. I mean, you can go mamby-pamby and you have no idea where you're going to end up. You may or may not land where you want to be. You can be prepared and all the things that we talk about in the past, having goals, searching things out, getting the research, all of that stuff. But you have to go. And that's where people are stuck, Linda, right now. They're just stuck here. Yeah, I want to. But I think that's one word we should take out of the English language.
Mhm. But because.
Yeah, it's hurt too many people. But what? What? I don't know. What's worse? Being unhappy or being a little bit scared and going forth and trying to find happiness? Like, I don't know. And it's funny, I don't know if you get this in the States. You get eHarmony there, that dating site?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So the guy comes out now that they have this one and, I want this, and, they're just doing nothing or hanging out at the park or whatever. And the dude always says, isn't it worth answering, like, I don't want to answer all those questions. And so he says, isn't it worth it to find, your one true love? Right? But same thing, Linda. They have to have a commercial on that, equates between this ridiculous way that we, slide into love somewhere. Maybe if I'm standing out here, somebody will love me, to being strategic about it and actually doing that. We can't even do that right. Like,
right.
This is how bad this is. People are in bad relationships, in bad jobs, in bad everything, just because they won't take the proper way to do things because, oh, gosh darn, it's going to be a little bit of work.
Mhm. It might be hard.
Okay, are we being a little brutal on you tonight? Yes. Why?
We are.
Because we've had, I think, 2 weeks of people saying exactly the way, in that same tone. But, I tried this before and it never worked before. And then so you say, okay, how exactly? What were the steps you took? Oh, were there steps? I mean, come on. People, we want you to be as happy and content in your lives as we are. And I'm not going to take it anymore, Linda, with going, oh, it's okay for you guys. What's so special about us?
Yeah. The biggest difference is we believed in ourselves and we took action.
Yep, we got up in the morning.
Right.
Yep.
Well, everybody else sat there and complained that nothing ever changes.
Yeah. I wanted to change things. I got pushed into a why that turned out to be, I could have went 2 ways with this, okay? I could have, and I'm not going to say that I could have went down in the dumps. I'm not going to say that at all. I could have continued with my life, okay? After I went through cancer, I still had my job, okay? And it was a very good career, and I loved it. And one that I've kind of, after 15 years, I've kind of gone back into it a little bit. But I could have stayed there and did those things. But I was watching a need happen in front of me, and I had an opportunity to do something. I didn't feel that the way that people were introduced to the treatments that they would receive through their cancer treatments was something that was good for them. I don't think they were getting enough information. I don't think they were getting the information. All of that stuff I saw a need and decided that I wanted to do something about that. Okay, now, that was a big thing that I had to do because I was actually facing a medical institution that I do it like this and we don't do anything different and it's worked for 100 years and it's really not working, but that's it, right? But nobody would take that bull by the horns. Now, in order to do that, I was going to have to make adjustments because I couldn't work a full-time job. I mean, I had a demanding job and I worked a lot of hours. Loved my job, so working hours and that. I always say this, if you're doing what you love, it's not work. And that's the way it was for me. I could have worked 50,000 hours a week and had the best time of my life doing the job that I do. But I made a change. So I also had to make another change. How am I going to make money without doing that job? So a lot of things, the dominoes started tripping and falling, and I went through this process. Linda's gone through this process. We didn't get here by, I don't know, what happens? Transporters come out and pick you up, the time machine comes out? No, it didn't happen that way. We both made decisions in different ways. We had a little bit of talent. For me, I had a little bit of, it was less talent than it was frustration. I had a lot of frustration and felt that I could make some changes. And so that was kind of scary. Yeah? So what's the difference between me and Linda and you? What is it? I mean, somebody really needs to come up with, how can you sit there and say that you can't have this life? I just decided on something.
Right. Made the decision. You made the decision to move forward. You made the decision of what you wanted. I think that was the first one. You made the decision of what you wanted to do. And then you started taking those baby steps that we talk about to move forward, move toward. I mean, you didn't have this magic crystal ball in front of you. When you made the decision that you were going to help these other people go through the process without getting stuck in a 100-year-old rut, you didn't have this crystal ball saying, okay, Mark, here's your next step and your next step and your next step and here's what you need to do and here's how you're going to get there. No. You maybe figured out the first couple of steps. And as long as you continue to move forward toward the goal that you had set, then you knew you were going to be okay because you had faith in yourself. You had faith in the process. But there was nothing magical that was presented to you with all of your steps already written out and handed to you on a silver platter.
No, absolutely not. It was uncharted territory, obviously, But what I was able to do is get the help that I needed. I asked a lot of questions. That's what I did. And even to this day, in doing whatever I'm doing, I ask a lot of questions. And here's an interesting thing. I mean, I know you've got a couple of entrepreneurial daughters, and my daughter's going through a life situation where, oil field, and everybody knows oil prices and stuff happened, and so she lost her job. But guess what she's good at? She's good at training animals. She worked in dog shelters. It's called SCARS here, saving rescue animals. And she worked with them for a while, and it was all volunteer because she was going through school and needed these volunteer things in these specific areas. And so now she's at home, and so there's some people, and what she did is went on down there and said, hey, these dogs are a little different than buying a puppy and, and you raise it, and, just like if you had foster children, right, Linda, same type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They come with baggage. And Alana's gone through some pretty amazing baggage with her animals that she's rescued. So now she made a whole job for herself. We went off for the week, and normally it's me who's busy, right, on my phone, returning mails that we have. And here's Alana booking appointments for all of these people who now need help with their rescue dogs.
Oh, that's awesome.
She made a job out of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? It was a talent. So, she could have sat and said, I need to get a job in the oil field industry because that's what I'm trained for. That's what I do. But she didn't do that. She had to make some different life. Okay, I lost my job, pouted for a while about that, and then started thinking about, well, now that I have this opportunity to change my life, where do I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as she said that, and Linda, we went through this process with her, but as soon as she said that, opportunity started coming her way.
Mm-hmm.
She had choices.
Exactly.
The magic word.
Choices. But she opened herself up to the opportunity instead of sitting there feeling totally sorry for herself. We all do that for a little bit, but then there comes a point in time where you say, okay, what am I going to do about this?
Yep. And she was, and we're talking about this here too. She was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. Linda's been overwhelmed. There's so many things you kind of go, woo, 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 what do I do? Well, when you're responsible, trying to be responsible for everything and all at one time, you are responsible for nothing because you can't simply do it. You're in a state of overwhelm and then procrastination and then, whoa, that's a slippery slope. So let's talk about it, Linda. Where do we start?
Absolutely. We have to start, we talked about this already, making a decision. We have to start taking a hard look at ourselves and say, okay, obviously something needs to change. I need to do something different, otherwise I'm going to be continuing to be in this perpetual cycle of nothing changes. So it's time to take 100% responsibility for everything that's happened in the past. I know that's a tough one to swallow, but good, bad, and ugly, we must take full responsibility for what has happened in the past because that's the only way that we're going to move forward. It's not like we can say, well, I'm not responsible for all the bad things that happened to me. I'm only responsible for the good things that happened to me. It doesn't work like that. It's time to get rid of the excuses. It's time to take 100% responsibility. A responsible person is somebody who is absolutely free. They don't allow circumstances or other people to push them off their course. So step number one, we must take full responsibility for everything that happens in our lives and stop making the excuses.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And we're stopping here. Like, have you really tried? Look yourself in the mirror. Nobody's watching. Have you really, really even tried? And that's the problem. Somebody, here I'm going to go way off squirrel. We have so many things that happen in our lives nowadays with the internet and stuff like that. And now everybody's on a terror kick, right? It's always got to be a terrorist. And we had two occasions here in where I live that things affect people and how they're making decisions that aren't even true. And one was somebody dug a hole in Toronto, and it was supposedly we got the Pan Am Games coming, and they're going, oh, it's got to be somebody tunneling over there. They're going to blow the place up. No, two dudes wanted a place to hang out. But it went all over the internet, everywhere, about this terrorist group in Toronto before the police are going, excuse me, no, And another one was they were going to blow up West Edmonton Mall. It's a big mall that we have here, just like you're in Minnesota, the big mall there too. So it's, and I'm going, really? And it turned out that it was something ridiculous. But, again, it was all over the news. It was everywhere. And that's what happens. People go, how many times, Linda, did you hear, oh, if you work on the internet, if you work from home like that, you're a scam artist.
Uh-huh. Oh,
And why would that be? Because somebody tried it. They didn't take responsibility for their own actions. So obviously it's a scam.
Because they're wanting to play the blame game, blame the reason it didn't work on something or somebody else. You see, we're getting ourselves into that circle again, aren't we?
Yep. So we're getting there. Make the decision. Okay, right now, the affirmation, the decision that you are going to take that responsibility and you're going to make decisions by yourself. Right? By yourself. And you're going to answer for all of the consequences. You're just going to do it.
Exactly. And I've thrown this affirmation out I don't know how many times. But it helped me, and I know it has to help a lot of people. I am responsible for my life, for my feelings, and for every result I get. You know, Mark, you say that enough times over and over and over again, every single day, day in and day out. And the second then you make it a habit, you start to put the blame on something or somebody else, you're going to hear this repeating in your mind, and you're going to go, oh, nope, that's me. I'm responsible.
Mm-hmm. And you can't blame God. You can't blame the boogeyman. You can't blame anybody. And you can't look for salvation in some other place. And I'm going to challenge this because, I mean, I've been kind of taken to task a few times because I'm all about my mind. My mind makes my life. I guess that's the best way that I can say that. I know that if I can dream it, I can do it. I know that if I decide that I'm not going to ever be sick again, if I'm never going to do something, or if I'm going to succeed at something, I know my mind will allow me to do it. Now, that people, I'm been told on many occasions that that's wrong. God will do that for you. I'm sorry, but I had a conversation with the guy, and he said, Mark, I'll help you if you take those steps in that direction, if that's where you want to go. I'll put the wind at your back. But he didn't sit there and say, yeah, I'll do that for you. I mean, come on, people. You can read every psalm, every quote, anything you want in the Bible, but he never said, sit on your ass and I'll do it for you. Okay, that's my rant. It's over.
That's a very good rant. You have to make the decision by yourself, and you have to take 100% responsibility. You can ask for guidance, and you'll receive guidance if you be quiet and listen for it, and then accept it and take the guidance. That's his way of helping. He's not going to sit there and do it for you while you have your feet propped up on the desk or, drinking umbrella drinks and eating bonbons.
No, because, we've said this a gazillion times, right? If that were the truth, 100% of the time, if I said I'm going to win the lottery, God would give it to me.
And if that were true 100% of the time, 100% of the people worldwide would win the lottery.
Exactly, because who doesn't want to win the lottery?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
And what percentage of people actually win? Okay.
Minuscule.
Just another note from God saying, get off your ass and do it yourself. I'm here to give you the wind to your sails. I'm not here to push you up. So for all of you that are going to send me more hate mail on that, I'm a believer. I am a Roman Catholic. I go to church. But I know for a fact God didn't tell me that I could be a lazy ass. He did not ever say that, not one time. Okay. Second part of the rant, now over. Let's jump to number 3.
Number 3. Be prepared
to fall and fail.
Making mistakes is how we learn. It's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing because we know the way not to do it. There's a lesson to be learned there. So be prepared to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. That's the joy and that's the uniqueness in all of this. Is that, what truly is perfection? Maybe the sunset is perfection. Maybe the sunrise is perfection. But we as human beings, We're not intended to be perfect. We're intended to be here to grow. The only way you can grow is to make some mistakes, to have a perceived failure from time to time. So if you are falling on your face and you keep getting up, understand that you're going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. It's still, even if it's just a small glimmer, if right now you're just sitting there going, you know what, maybe I can do this. You know, maybe I have let myself down one too many times. Maybe. If you've got just a little piece of that maybe, that's the start.
Right. What if
Hang
it
on.
this time?
Hang on. Yeah. What if it does? Not what if all of these things that have gone wrong in the past. I'm telling you, man, the past is the past. Nobody lives there anymore. Get rid of it. It's done. I can't go back in the past and change anything. You know, if somebody I met 20 years ago thinks I'm an idiot for something I said, I'm not going to look them up and try to change their mind.
They've forgotten about it anyway.
Well, exactly. They probably don't even remember my name. So, you know, gosh, Linda, I'm hoping that this is sinking in. Okay, so here's the big one. I couldn't fit it. I wanted to put it all in one slide, so you're going to have to squint your eyes to read it.
You're testing my eyeballs tonight.
Yes, but it's all about the strategy. Okay, so I want to talk about this. How are you going to get from where you are right now? So we're talking about this in planning this trip. Okay, so you have to have the right roadmap. And what I put on here and what we talked about is if I had a roadmap of Europe, I'm not going to get to Florida. I'm not going to see Linda because the landscape would be incorrect to where I want to go. And sometimes that happens to us. We just start off on the wrong foot, in the wrong direction. That doesn't mean that you can't go, wait, I have the wrong map. Perhaps I should turn around and grab the right one. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The map that takes you where you want to go. In other words, you've decided what you want. You made that decision. You made the decision you're going to move forward now. And now it's time to plan. It's time to make that map or grab that map or grab the resources that will get you that map. But you need a map.
Exactly. You need that map. And again, I say don't be silly enough to ask directions of people that are not speaking the same language.
Right.
Or don't know where they're going either. You know, align yourself with people who know where their head is at and can help you, lift you up. Why do I work with people? Like I go after the big dogs in the fight, with the Donald Trumps, the Tony Robbins, the Richard Branson. I'm not afraid because those guys, they have the answer. So if I want the answer to a question, why not go to the top? What are they going to say? Oh, little person, you're too small for me to care about? No, they didn't. How can I help was what I got.
Mm-hmm.
So when I had a fight against a medical institution, you know, worldwide, I had 3 big dogs in my fight. But I would never have had them there had I just said, oh, well, they'll never talk to me. Yeah?
Yeah, you know, we all need to get rid of that mindset that, oh, because they're such a big dog, then they're not going to talk to little oh me. That's a self-worth issue because we're all the same. We're all connected. We're all here to help each other. And it's very surprising, or it will be to you, when you start asking the questions. As Mark said, go to the top. Ask the person who you know beyond the shadow of a doubt has the answer that you're trying to find. Go ahead and ask them. Quite frankly, I have found that the more successful, the higher up the food chain, so to speak, that a lot of people are, the more willing they are to help you anyway. So ask. That's what they're there for. They've discovered that by serving, they're also being rewarded as well.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say, exactly that. And that's why we give back. Did anybody charge you to come here tonight? Anybody going to charge you for the replay? Not at all. That's not what we do. We're just here helping you do what you need to do to live an amazing life. And it may not look like mine. I was up in the mountains, and most people going, oh, my God, you're going to the mountains. How much fun is that? I had the best time of my life. To me, that's my peace. To me, when I'm sitting on the top of a mountain, I can look over, and I'm almost in the clouds, and the sun is just breaking through, and I can see down into the valley. That is my being in total peace and total contentment. Some people, like Linda, toes in the sand, out on the water.
Yep,
but that's yep.
Not to stay there.
Yep, but that's like that. I'd love to visit there. I don't want to live there. And so that's what it is when you're asking people about different things that they're in your friend sphere, or maybe even employment sphere. Number one, most of the people that you're going to meet or you're hanging with right now don't want you to move out of that space because you're their friend. And if you get better than they are, in their eyes, by going in that direction and becoming a better, happier, more content person, you're not going to be at the water cooler anymore bitching with them. You're not going to be out Thursday night on the wine party crying about how bad your life is. You're going to be out living your life. So those people you're talking to now, they're not helping.
Exactly. They're stuck in that blame game because that's so much fun to stand around the water cooler and point fingers at everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's just an excuse. Well, good, I'm over here. Your misery? I got more misery than you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. I can beat you on misery. Why don't you try beating everybody on happiness and contentment? That just, is craziness. So we talked about this throughout this. This is just what we're going to talk about for the remainder of this. Freedom from fear. And that's all the fears. All of the fears. Anything new that you're going to challenge is going to help you become more responsible, more accountable, and it's going to lead you to happiness and contentment, satisfaction, and success. It's just, that's going to happen. I mean, that is an absolute, you can't challenge it statement.
Oh,
you're going to be free.
Free. Isn't that a wonderful word, free, freedom?
Yep.
I love that word.
I like it when I can sit here, Linda, and we're chatting on a Sunday, and we're sitting there going, yeah, when are we going to get together? What do you got on the go? And we just get up and go. And where will we meet? Your place, my place, somewhere in the middle, somewhere on another continent. What are we going to do? And I do this with my friends all the time. I know you do. We travel. We do whatever we want to do when we want to do, because there's a couple of things here. We're responsible for big corporate decisions that we're both involved in. We've netted it up so that we can do it from anywhere we are virtually in the world. Sometimes we have to be at home, but most times not. We made those decisions. Now, I could have a job as a lawyer in an office right now, tomorrow, if I want it. But that's not my choice. My choice is being an entrepreneur and helping other people be that, as well as for all of you others out there that are not entrepreneurs, you just want to be happier. That's cool by me. That's what I want to do. I want to just give you, I guess I got so much damn happiness, Linda, I'm trying to give it away. Nobody's taking it.
There was a day that I just decided was one of many, but one of my crowning moments. I was on a conference call, and there were a lot of people on this particular call, and there were a lot of leaders of the company on the call. And so I was being me and being quite perky and joyful and happy, and one of the leaders at the time said, Linda, I just can't take it anymore. Can you please tone it down? Mm-hmm. He wasn't open to receiving happiness. But that was okay. It didn't dampen my day. Actually, I put myself on mute, and I was going, yes! But anyway, that person's not here anymore.
Yeah.
But I am.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I know. I know for an absolute fact. I get it. I can't instill happiness or contentment, satisfaction, success. I cannot take it out of me and physically give it to you. What I can tell you with absolute certainty, that if you make some changes in your life, no matter where you are, you can't sit there and say, well, I'm just barely able to feed my family when I'm done my job. Okay, so I'm going to tell you something, and I know the economy's bad in some places, but, you know, there's such, you can move, okay? You can move to where the opportunity is, but then you sit there and you say, but I don't want to leave my friends, you know, or something ridiculous like that. I mean, we have people here in Canada. I come from an oil country, right? And I know in Texas it's a lot that way too. We have people that literally, they have homes on one side of our country, and literally their commute is all the way across the country. And our country is as big as your country, so you can know how far that is. They actually come here and they'll work for 6 or 8 months, and they go back home. Because where they live, there's no jobs. They made a decision to do that. And here's what's cool about that. Communities of people watch each other's houses while the other ones are off bringing home the bacon. And they're not necessarily wives or anything like that. They're just people that you go up for 6 months, we'll watch the place. And then we'll go out, and as a community, they have made that community thrive. I mean, I'm not talking 10 people here. I'm talking of hundreds of thousands of people. Our population in my province grows by over 3 million people in the oil sands. They don't live here. They live in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. They live in the eastern provinces where there is no jobs. So you can't tell me that you can't get a job. You might have to do something else. You might have to learn new skills. You might have to think about a talent that you have. Look at our entrepreneurs, our empowered women group, right, Linda? You know, these are people that, same thing, first-time mom, job's gone, you know, all of this stuff going on, and they decide they're going to start a little business. You know, one of them is knitting little mitten things. And, you know, I can't, there's so many of them now, I can't even tell you about half of them. They just got together as an empowered group of women, sharing their talents and their expertise to help the other one. We started with 6 or 8, we're up to over 100 and some odd, and growing every day. So what if you did that in your own community? You went out, put an ad in the paper. You know, we just went on Facebook and started gathering up people and then gathering some more people. Now we do a little bit more. And we went from one place to another place. And, you know, we've been on TV. I mean, it's just growing by leaps and bounds. But where did that come from? A need had to be filled. Filled it. So women are growing, becoming successful, happy, contented by not tearing each other down or whining over the wine, but becoming more powerful with each other, supporting them.
Support, encouragement. I mean, those are key things that all of us crave. You know, but as you look for people who will be in your court to support you and to encourage you, look for those qualities instead of somebody who will commiserate with you and what is it Jack Canfield says, join the Ain't It Awful Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't that just awful?
Ain't it awful? Ain't it awful? Instead, you know,
bless their hearts, Linda.
Yes, bless their hearts.
I'll never get the southern drawl on that right, but I'm sure most of you will know the meaning of that.
Oh my.
Oh my. That's right. But so what can we say tonight, Linda? that we haven't said a gazillion times before. Listen to us.
Yep.
Please. Please.
And
please
reach out.
do something.
Do something.
Absolutely.
Take a positive step. Reach out. Ask for help. We're here to help. If you need somebody in your court to be supportive and encouraging, we're here. We got
I'm
you.
in. I'll do it.
Yeah. If you need an accountability partner, we got you there too.
Mhm.
But you got to take the step. You got to reach out and say,
oh yeah, whiners. Hey. This is not the whiners club. We just hang up on you.
Yeah.
Well, Linda sometimes says goodbye. I never do.
Yeah, I do at least say goodbye. Bye.
Yeah. I just pretend you were never there. But that's the way I live my life. I don't want those people in my club, because you do nothing, right? You do nothing. I'm not saying, I know some of you are in a situation right now where it's heartbreaking. But the fact of the matter is, I want you to sit down in your journals that we've asked you to keep. I want you to write down some things like, what if, and we did this exercise, two Mondays ago, Linda? What if?
Yeah.
Write all this. What if it did happen? What could I do to make it happen? And have no limitations on that. It's limitless. Like if there was no obstacles, no boundaries, you didn't live in Minnesota, you didn't just lose your job. You just what would it be? What is that life? What does it look like? And then work backwards from there. Well, how could I attain that? What talents do I have? What vehicle would I need to drive? What's my roadmap? All the things we talked about. If you're not willing to do that, well, sad to you.
And you're not willing to make a change.
No, you're not. So you're living a life less your worth. Not worth less your worth.
Less your worth. Because every single one of you is a magnificent creation.
Oh, yeah. Like the people we've met in this journey, Linda, I have met some of the most incredible, particularly, now we have a lot of men, but I think, for the most part, the guys that I have, I know that I'm doing, guys are guys. They're kind of like they get this. They know how to, they get, well, they don't use a map. Let's face it, no guys use maps. but and they won't ask for directions either. But if you tell them where to go, like if you set them on a course to somewhere, they actually do it. So in my own coaching, men seem to be more driven to perform, right, in their inherentness of who they are as men. Whereas women, on the other hand, look for approval and appreciation. And I'm telling you, forget about it. Just go out there and be your own self. Who cares if nobody approves? Oh, don't look for somebody to clap. Here, I'll tell you what, here. There's your clap. Now go out and do it.
Right. If you need somebody's approval, give it to yourself. You're your own self-approver. If you need appreciation, it has to start with you anyway. You have to appreciate and love yourself before you can ever be a shining star to somebody else.
Yeah, it's really funny. I'm reading part of this, and it says a responsible person will take these. It should have said 5 steps, but fine works in this one.
I think
there are 5 fine steps. Start working on them. That's all we're asking you to do. Put pen to paper. Sit down, think about it. Who am I? Who do I want to be? And don't put any limitations on it. Just if you want to be Oprah Winfrey, go ahead. Now, she's probably going to take issue to that because she's who she is. But, if you want to be that person, and think about her career, right? Is Oprah Winfrey the most knowledgeable person on earth? No. What did she do? She interviewed people that were. Right? And by doing that, she grew as a person. Okay? So what I was talking about, when I go and do stuff, I want to be with the best that I can find at doing stuff. And I'm going to say yes. You know, in some cases, that can cost you some money, right? You know, to get, if you're going to go, say, to a seminar or workshop, if working on one-on-one with these people is not inexpensive. But again, we started a group of empowered women where we live, and that's all we do. There's no whiners in that group. But there is problem solving. This is my problem, and everybody shares on a solve. That's not whining. That's not complaining. That is doing something to make something better. And what's better than, you know, one head screwed up, can't go anywhere, than when if you just throw your head into the middle and say, okay, this is my problem. These are the things I've done so far. I've not been successful in these things. This one part way, this one, maybe not too bad. And having other women or other men or other people say, hey, you know what? That happened to me one time too. How many times, Linda, has that even happened in your own conversations with just people? When you say, oh, you know, I don't know, I couldn't even, I got a flat tire and I didn't even know how to find my spare. I'm sure that there's be, you know, out of 10 people, 3 of them go, me neither.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do? Well, I got out the manual to the car and I read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roadmap,
Yep,
getting information. Yeah.
Didn't even know that spare hid under there. Wow.
Yeah. I wonder what else is there.
Yeah.
You know. But that's the thing. And here's how it is. How many of us? Gosh, that's a good metaphor. How many of us get in the car and we never read that manual, right? Mm-hmm. But as soon as something goes wrong, you know, you're trying to whip it out, or you spend 20 hours going, I wonder what that blinking light is on my dashboard, and should I be worried about it? When there's a bloody manual in our glove box that we haven't even cracked yet. That's how we screw up in life. We do the same bloody thing.
Mhm. Exactly.
And we talked about the babies. You know, they just pop out, and you're supposed to know what to do with them. You don't. You got to learn.
Yep.
Right? You learn by your grandma, your mom, books. I say stay off the internet. It's not a good place to learn. Because I could be Dr. Mark Jeffrey. You wouldn't know that I wasn't. I would just have to put on a big blog.
Yep. Yeah, I did all my research about you.
Yeah, I was just reading, one of my friends said she's a best-selling author. Really? Okay.
Okay, Mark. So how do we tie this up in a bow tonight?
The bow for me is this. You are such an amazing person that every moment, every breath you take should fill your heart with so much joy because of the amazing person that you are.
That's beautiful. I'll tack on to that by saying that a truly bright future awaits anyone who's willing to take 100% responsibility for every result that they experience, and that everyone has beautiful greatness within you just waiting for you to accept this glorious gift. And truly responsibility is the key to unlock the gift.
Absolutely. It's always your choice. Always your choice. You have choices. So from Mark here in Canada, my friends, I want to say thank you so very much for spending another hour with us. We are so happy and appreciative of everyone here and everyone that will listen to it later. And thank you so very, very much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate you. So good night, everyone.
And good night, everyone, and thank you so much from Linda down here in Florida.